Letting go of the female narcissist.
6 reasons men can't leave, but still love. Have you ever scratched your head wondering why your buddy stays with that toxic girlfriend who treats him like dirt? Or why your coworker can't quit that vain, exploitative woman who belittles and controls him? If so, you've witnessed a man trapped by a female narcissist. This painful pattern ensnares countless men worldwide. Female narcissists are skilled at using devious entrapment tactics to keep men clinging to bad relationships long past their expiration date. In this video, we'll explore the top 6 reasons men become hooked to narcissistic women. Understanding these insidious dynamics is the first step for men to break free and take back their lives. So grab some chai, get comfortable, and let's shed light on why too many good men stay with nasty, soul-sucking she-devils who are slowly extinguishing their spirit. Before we go deep, I want to say that this video is primarily for those who have given up hope their female partner can fix themselves or improve the relationship. If you still love her deeply, have kids together, and aren't ready to walk away, then watching further may not be helpful right now. In that case, I'd suggest first watching my other video, How to Help Your Narcissistic Partner Heal and Change for a Better Marriage, and giving your relationship another chance. See if that compassionate approach creates some positive shifts. Now, let's dive into the reasons men can get hooked by female narcissists, starting with how she becomes his closest confidant.
Reason 1. She morphs into his BFF/confidant.
To sink her claws in, the female narcissist often morphs into her target's closest confidants and BFF. She shapeshifts into the ideal safe space for him to open up completely and share his most intimate shames, fears, and vulnerabilities. This underhanded trust-building approach dismantles his defenses brick by brick. Take this IT manager from Hyderabad working in Seattle. After his parents' bitter divorce, he learned not to trust women with his deepest secrets. Who could blame him? But his new girlfriend, PARI, insisted she was not like the other girls and persuaded him to open up about his traumatic childhood marked by a cruel, status-obsessed mother. This ice queen rejected and criticized him mercilessly for being too dark, too chubby, and too studious rather than an athletic social butterfly. Whenever he shared these painful memories, PARI poured on the compassion. She validated his feelings completely and reassured him over and over that his witch of a mom was totally in the wrong for damaging his self-esteem so profoundly. Her empathy felt incredibly healing after a lifetime of his mom's cold, critical contempt. PARI made him feel seen for the first time. The IT manager also ended up confiding about his professional insecurities, his secret money problems, embarrassing health issues, and kinky sexual turn-ons he thought he could never tell a woman. But PARI listened with rapt attention, coaxing out more juicy details to store in her private vault. Her unconditional acceptance led the manager to disclose more and more. He came to rely on her as the sole keeper of his deepest shames and secrets. This evil enmeshment strategy deepened their bond significantly. It made him feel wholly dependent on her comforting ear. Thanks to her trust-building facade, the IT manager was now willing to tolerate PARI's later mistreatment just to keep this intimate lifeline intact. After all, she understood him like no one else. He couldn't bear losing that.
Reason 2. She grooms him with idealized love bombing.
Along with positioning herself as his trusted BFF, the wily female narcissist employs a potent combination of grooming strategies like excessive flattery, rushed intimacy, and idolization. This deliberate approach pulls the rug out from under her prey by fulfilling his most grandiose romantic fantasies and deepest unmet emotional needs. Take this neurologist from Chandigarh who relocated to Chicago. Early on, he casually mentioned to his new girlfriend his lifelong dream of having a big, happy family to make up for growing up an only child. Sensing his deprivation, his girlfriend, Ms. Lovebomb, immediately went into overdrive, wooing him with promises of a fairy tale future together. She gushed about wanting a huge wedding and half a dozen kids ASAP. Miss Lovebomb began sending him links to nursery furniture and maternity wear. After a lavish, romantic trip to Hawaii, where she treated him like a king, Ms. Lovebomb continued love-bombing him with constant praise, calling him her soulmate, the most brilliant man alive, and the absolute love of her life. This adoration felt like a drug, leaving the neurologist addicted to the intoxicating high of being worshipped. But it was simply a ploy to get her hooks in deep. When Miss Lovebomb later devalued him via put-downs, icy withdrawal, and entitled demands, the neurologist clung desperately to hopes she would return to the idealized girlfriend who once worshipped his every move. This kept him trapped, chasing the emotional dragon and enduring her emotional roller coaster.
Reason 3, she leverages his massive investment.
To keep a man tightly tethered, the female narcissist also leverages his massive emotional, physical, and financial investment in the relationship. The more effort, time, sacrifices, and resources he's sunk in, the harder it is for him to cut his losses and leave. Take this radiologist from Delhi married to a narcissist, Mrs. Manipulator, for nearly 20 years. He helped pay her medical school tuition, gave up his career dreams to accommodate hers, nursed her through illness, overlooked her princess syndrome and vanity, and defended her to skeptical family members. After so much time, energy, and compromise sunk into the marriage, walking away now would feel like 2 wasted decades and monumental personal failure to him. The radiologist keeps thinking if only he tries a bit harder, makes a few more sacrifices, flatters her a bit more skillfully, then maybe, just maybe he can recapture those magical early years when Mrs. Manipulator seemed like his perfect partner. This potent psychological trap, combined with her world-class guilt tripping, compels him to stay in hope of seeing some return on his massive emotional investment one day. It's like a gambling addiction. Of course, the payoff never comes. But admitting that would mean accepting the entire relationship was a lie, and that's too devastating for his psyche to handle. So, the manipulation continues.
Reason 4, she erodes his self-worth with death by 1,000 cuts.
The soul-sucking female narcissist also keeps her supply prisoner using chronic diminishment through verbal abuse, name-calling, comparison to others, criticism, and intimidation. This death by 1,000 cuts approach slowly erodes his self-esteem over time, brick by brick, until he feels undeserving of healthy love and real companionship. Take this dentist from Bangalore married to a narcissist he calls Medusa. She repays his loyalty and provision with constant contempt. Medusa criticizes nearly everything this dentist does and says. She calls him insulting nicknames like idiot, loser, man-child in front of others, ridicules his knowledge and career ambitions, and compares him unfavorably to old boyfriends and her friends' husbands. Medusa also restricts his social life, refusing to mingle with his family and childhood friends, who she deems lower class. Over months and years of this conditioning, the dentist felt his confidence wither into deficiency. Medusa's systematic isolation and belittling left him doubting his social skills, talents, and value as a romantic partner. She had him convinced he was too damaged, too dependent on her to leave. Even as Medusa cheated on him and continued her nasty diminishment, the dentist believed her brainwashing that he was far too inadequate to find love with anyone else.
Reason 5, she twists reality with blame shifting and gaslighting.
The devious female narcissist also maintains ironclad control of the relationship through blame shifting, projection, and reality distorting mind games known as gaslighting. This allows her to make even the most callous destructive behavior seem like her partner's fault. Confused and silenced by her convoluted logic, the man struggles to hold his ground. Take this entrepreneur from Mumbai, married to a narcissist he nicknamed Ballistic Betty. She has elaborate meltdowns over the smallest perceived slights. If dinner is served 5 minutes late, Ballistic Betty screams at him that he's starving her on purpose and wants her to waste away. If he doesn't compliment her new dress, she accuses him of having an affair and finding other women more attractive. When the entrepreneur objects to her raging tirades, Ballistic Betty twists it around, blaming him for provoking her meltdowns with his tone or lack of compassion. She insists the real problem isn't her screaming like a banshee over trivial matters. It's his negativity triggering her and his failure to appease Betty's fits calmly. The entrepreneur ends up so spun around by her warped blame shifting that he assumes responsibility for walking on eggshells and keeping Betty's rages at bay rather than confronting her verbal abuse directly. Her jetty mind trick talents allow Ballistic Betty to flip the script consistently, keeping her husband perpetually doubting himself and catering to her projections.
Reason 6, she uses trauma bonding and intermittent reinforcement.
Finally, The devious female narcissist strengthens her partner's attachment through an addictive feeling known as the trauma bond. She creates this through a devastating cycle of cruelty, deprivation, and then intermittent affection and redemption. Take this narcissist nicknamed the love-hater whose favorite hobby is emotionally torturing her boyfriend. One day, love-hater explodes in a jealous rage simply because a waitress smiled at her boyfriend. She accuses him of wanting to sleep with the waitress and finding other women more attractive in general. The love-hater punishes him for days with icy silence, flirting with other men in front of him, and hurling cruel insults about his manhood and sexual prowess. Just when her boyfriend reaches his breaking point, the love-hater showers him with apologies, crocodile tears, extravagant gifts, and passionate sex. After weeks of her icy withdrawal, this manipulative bait and switch provides a huge dopamine rush for the boyfriend. Like a lab animal, he now chases the reward of her sudden warmth. He convinces himself their special connection is worth weathering the love-hater's increasingly vicious episodes of running hot and cold. This traumatic bonding chains the boyfriend to the dizzying cycle of extremes, even as the highs get shorter and lower, while the lows grow longer and more brutal.
The narcissist's arsenal of manipulation tactics.
Female narcissists employ an entire arsenal of underhanded tactics to trap men in demeaning relationships. Let's do a quick review of some of their top manipulation tools. Love bombing, excessive flattery, praise, gifts, manufacturing intimacy and trust quickly, mirroring his desires, dreams, interests. The sob story, playing victim to trigger his sympathy, projection, blaming him for her issues, word salad arguments, triangulation, hinting she has other options, gaslighting, raging, emotional explosions, character assassination, validation then withdrawal, smear campaigns, monopolizing his time, isolating him from friends/family, jealous, controlling behavior, guilt trips, withholding affection. The more tactics a narcissistic woman employs, the harder it becomes for her partner to escape her web of manipulation and see the truth of who she really is.
Healing from narcissistic abuse.
For men healing from narcissistic abuse, the road to recovery looks like this. First, he must rebuild his self-worth after the narcissist's death by 1,000 cuts. With support, he can reclaim his strength and self-confidence, detaching from the abyss of the narcissist's projections. Next, he must purge his addiction to the manufactured highs she once provided. This requires going cold turkey on all contact and cutting the trauma bonds, rewiring his brain. He also has to process the grief of losing the woman he thought he knew. Mourning the illusion allows him to fully integrate the truth of the narcissist's mask. Finally, he must learn to trust himself and his inner guidance again. By asserting his boundaries consistently, he regains power and agency in his life. While recovery takes time, the payoff is profound. Breaking free from a narcissist's clutches allows a man to finally live authentically, unburdened by her machinations. The door to real intimacy awaits anyone willing to do the inner work. Now healed, he can spot manipulation early and forge bonds with those who see and appreciate his true worth. There is life beyond the fog, a joyful one where his spirit can soar. But first he must close this painful chapter by turning the final page.
How men can safely extract from narcissists.
Ending an abusive relationship with a narcissistic woman calls for careful planning and execution. Here are some key tips. Hide money in a separate account to prepare for leaving. Line up a new place to stay like a friend's house or apartment. Gather important documents, keys, cherished items discreetly. Ensure you have copies of any joint financial documents. Get support from a counselor, friends, or family. Memorize emergency hotline numbers. Arrange a police escort to stay safe if she becomes violent. Change passwords and security codes she knows. Cut off her access to tracking devices, accounts. Block hers, emails, and all social media instantly. Keep evidence of threats for legal protection. Tell her it's over through a call or letter, not in person. The most dangerous time is right after leaving, when narcissistic rage peaks. Take every precaution to avoid location tracking, harassment, and false accusations. With proper planning, courage, and support, men can break free and close the book on toxicity. A peaceful life awaits beyond her clenched fist. The presence of a narcissist is painful, but it does not have to ruin you. With patience, compassion, and the right support, you can regain your inner power and thrive again. This hardship can be the start of creating authentic, healthy relationships and a life aligned with your true needs and values. I hope you found some support and validation in the shared experiences here and gained insight into recovering from narcissistic abuse. Please comment with your story to help others heal. If you still struggle with living with them or living without them, then you are likely trauma bonded and shouldn't hesitate to reach out for coaching. I want to continue this conversation to bring narcissistic abuse out of the shadows. Don't forget to subscribe and press thanks if these videos have resonated with your pain. Your generosity allows me to be here together so we can help victims rediscover their wings after narcissistic abuse clipped them for too long. If you believe you need to urgently speak with a counselor to get started on recovering, you can send me a message on WhatsApp on India or UK number, and I will schedule an initial session within 24 hours. I believe in you and this community's resilience. Together we can heal and thrive again after narcissistic betrayal.